Adrian Moretti recognized the hummingbird on his maid's key ring before he recognized the woman who had saved him. The tarnished charm flashed beneath a brass pendant light as Nia Carter set coffee beside his untouched plate. Porcelain clicked softly on walnut. The room smelled of dark roast and lemon oil. Adrian stopped with one hand on a folder marked Moretti Foundation Review. Nia closed her fingers around the keys. "Is something wrong, Mr. Moretti?" Her voice was older than the one in his memory, but the cadence struck the same place in him. A hotel service corridor. Fluorescent light. Citrus cleaner. His lungs failing during a severe allergic reaction 15 years earlier. A girl using the emergency phone, reading the medical tag from his wallet, keeping him conscious with a steady count. 1, 2, 3. Breathe on 4. Adrian had been 25. He was 40 now, a Caucasian man with dark brown hair brushed back from a widow's peak, gray eyes, and a controlled face newspapers like to photograph. In Boston, the Moretti name carried old construction wealth in public and a mafia organization in quieter rooms. Adrian had inherited both. As the mafia boss, he kept his present businesses inside property, restaurants, and logistics, but power still entered a room before he did. Nia did not seem impressed by it. At 30, she had 10 years of professional housekeeping experience. She was African American, with deep brown skin, an oval face, dark eyes, and natural black hair twisted into a neat low bun. Her charcoal gray uniform had a white collar and flat black shoes. She had joined his Beacon Hill residence 4 days earlier through a domestic staffing agency. "Where did you get that charm?" Adrian asked. "My mother gave it to me when I was 14. "What was her name?" Nia's eyes sharpened. "Why?" He heard how his questions sounded. An employer cornering a woman in a room where everything belonged to him. He closed the folder. 15 years ago, a girl wearing a hummingbird called an ambulance for me at the Moretti Harbor Hotel. She stayed until paramedics arrived. I searched for her under the name Nia Bell." A faint sound came from Nia's keys. "My mother used Bell at work," she said. Her legal name was Evelyn Carter. Adrian's pulse changed. Nia placed the keys on the sideboard. "I was at that hotel. My mother cleaned guest rooms. I waited in the employee break room after school. I heard something fall in the hall. You told me to stay with the count. 1, 2, 3. Breathe on 4. The memory became fact. For 15 years Adrian had paid investigators, reviewed dead ends, and renewed a private trust created for the unidentified girl who saved him. Every September he had asked Dominic for the newest report. Every September he had received another cleanly tabbed folder ending with the same conclusion: no verified claimant. He had kept the hummingbird description in the first page of his personal file because memory was the only evidence he trusted. He had never imagined finding her carrying linens through his house. Nia reached into her apron and removed a folded photocopy. Its creases were soft with age. "I did not take this job for gratitude," she said. "My mother died in March." This was in her safe deposit box. The document was a 2011 acknowledgement from Moretti Family Risk Services. Adrian's signature appeared at the bottom, authorizing a $600,000 educational and medical trust for the minor rescuer identified through Hotel Incident File 09-18. He knew the current value was a little over $2.3 million. A second line made him still. Evelyn Carter had appeared with identification and a notarized statement naming her daughter, Nia Carter, as the rescuer. "I never saw this page with your name filled in. My mother did." 3 weeks later, she received a letter saying the claim failed because someone else had been identified. Every later letter went through the same lawyer. The signature in the lower corner was familiar. Dominic Vale. Dominic, 58, had been Moretti counsel for 22 years. He had managed the hotel incident, Adrian's search, and the trust. In 72 hours, he was scheduled to stand beside Adrian at the Moretti Foundation donor dinner while the board voted to transfer the supposedly unclaimed trust into a hospital grant. Nia picked up her keys. "Before that money moves, I want to know why my mother spent 15 years being told I did not exist." "So do I." For the first time since she entered his house, the balance changed. Nia had the missing name. Adrian had the files. Somewhere between them was the reason his 15-year search had never been allowed to succeed. By noon, Adrian had moved the discussion into the residence library, where the door could remain open and Nia could sit nearest the exit. Sunlight crossed the red oak floor. The shelves smelled of paper and beeswax. Before asking for her help, he placed a written condition on the table. Nia's employment, pay, and agency housing stipend would not depend on her cooperation. "You had this drafted already?" she asked. "My compliance counsel drafted it." Lena Park, 46, joined by secure video long enough to confirm that Dominic did not supervise her office and that Nia could stop participating at any time. Nia signed. Lena countersigned and became custodian of every document collected from that moment. Then Adrian opened the trust ledger. The account had grown, but every year carried fees to veil fiduciary services, a firm Dominic had founded. 15 years of charges totaled more than $430,000. Nia leaned toward the screen. The radiator gave off dry heat beneath the window. "Did you approve those?" "A standard trustee fee in 2011. Not the increases." She pointed to a code. "RSR. Rescuer Search Retainer." The man paid to find Nia had been paying his former firm for money reserved for her. Adrian opened Dominic's annual search reports. They looked exhaustive. Return mail, database checks, school inquiries. Nia saw the flaw immediately. "Every search is for Nia Bell. My first note from the hotel used that name. My school records were Carter. My mother's payroll badge said Bell because she had not updated it after her divorce, but her tax form said Carter." A 2012 report showed an investigator had requested the hotel human resources file. Dominic denied access, citing employee privacy. Nia tapped the page. He knew there was another record. He blocked it. "That is stronger than saying he knew my name. Do not accuse him before we know what he did." Adrian was used to ending objections with a look. He did not. "What do you suggest?" "Follow the paperwork before he knows we are following it." Their agreement gave Lena 48 hours before she had to notify the foundation board of a conflict affecting the scheduled transfer. Adrian froze administrative payments. Nia searched her mother's papers for dates that could match official records. That afternoon, she returned with a blue cloth folder that smelled faintly of cedar. Inside were 3 certified letters Evelyn had mailed between 2011 and 2014. All used the same case number. 2 postal confirmations were signed by D. Vale. Evelyn had not demanded money. She asked for a meeting so her daughter could be acknowledged. Her second letter enclosed Nia's birth certificate and a school yearbook photo. Her third said she would stop writing because a Moretti representative had warned that further contact might be considered harassment. Adrian set the paper down. "I never authorized that warning. My mother had no reason to know that." He showed Nia his own 2011 instruction to Dominic. "Find the girl. Do not pressure her family. Respect refusal. Fund the trust privately if she accepts contact." Nia compared dates. Who had access? Dominic and his investigator. And the trust document. Dominic drafted it. I signed it. The bank got the executed version. Then someone gave my mother a version with my name and gave the bank one without it. That was the second hard clue. Nia photographed both versions beside a ruler and date card at Lena's instruction, then sealed Evelyn's original copy in a clear evidence sleeve. The paper made a dry whisper as it slid inside. Adrian watched her label it in her own handwriting. For once, the record would begin with her name and stay that way. That was the second hard clue. Lena requested the archived execution packet directly from the bank. The consequence arrived first. At 6:20, Dominic walked into the Beacon Hill residence without an appointment. He wore a navy overcoat and a calm expression. The entry hall was cool, smelling of recently mopped stone. "I heard you froze the trust fees," he told Adrian. "Compliance review." Dominic's gaze passed over Nia, who stood beside a console sorting household receipts. It stopped for half a second on the hummingbird clipped to her keys. His face recovered. "That trust has attracted false claims for years," he said. "Be careful about people who arrive when money is about to move." "Her employment is protected," Adrian said. "Do not contact her agency or discuss her with the board." "Of course." Dominic turned toward Nia. "Miss Carter, is it?" She had never introduced herself. The hall went quiet except for a clock ticking behind the wall. "Yes," Nia said. Dominic nodded as if nothing had happened and left. Nia unclipped the hummingbird and placed it on the console. He knew the name. Adrian looked at the silver bird. "And now he knows we noticed." The next morning brought an invoice. Lena sent it at 8:07 a.m. from the bank's 2011 execution packet. The trust agreement had no beneficiary name. but attached to it was a $25,000 bill from Vail Fiduciary Services for identity verification and claimant screening, paid 3 days after Evelyn Carter's notarized statement arrived. Rain tapped the library windows. Cold coffee left a bitter smell near the printer. So he charged the trust to screen us, Nia said, and then told me no claimant existed. If Nia were identified, the trust would become beneficiary-controlled and Dominic's annual search retainer would end. Money gave him a motive, but it still did not explain the entire obstruction. Evelyn had left one more clue, a handwritten hotel appointment card dated October 2, 2011. On it she had written, Records Office. Ask for camera export. Adrian remembered the service hall camera. The original incident report said it had malfunctioned. Lena checked retention logs. It had not. The footage had been exported 1 day after Adrian's medical emergency and placed under attorney privilege using Dominic's case number. Can we get it? Nia asked. Not from the old hotel server, Adrian said, but perhaps from the legal archive. Lena located the storage vendor from an invoice and issued a preservation demand under Adrian's authority as the client. One encrypted video file still existed. Release required his privilege waiver. He signed it. Then he removed Dominic as counsel on the old incident. You are firing him? Nia asked. From this matter, the board can decide anything broader after evidence is verified. You could remove him from everything. I could. Then he could call this a private war. I want a record that survives both of us. Nia nodded. Trust moved by 1 careful inch. At 11:45 it broke backward. An anonymous email reached 2 foundation board members. It appeared to come from Nia's personal address 6 weeks earlier. Addressed to an investigative journalist, it said she could get inside Moretti's house, confirm the trust value, and produce a story. The amount listed was almost exact. Adrian read the printout at the kitchen island. The refrigerator hummed. Fresh rosemary bread cooled nearby. Nia entered with folded napkins and stopped. What happened? He turned the page toward her. I did not write this. Did you contact a journalist? No. Did you know the trust value before you entered the house? No. My mother's paper said $600,000 in 2011. The sender address is yours. It is my address. That is not the same as authentication. The words echoed her warning about evidence. Still, Adrian could not ignore the timing. Nia had requested the Moretti assignment instead of being randomly placed. She arrived days before the trust transfer. Now an email suggested she came for access. You are wondering whether I used my mother's story, she said. I am wondering what I can prove. That is better. But until you prove it. He hesitated. Nia removed her agency badge and set it beside the email. I requested this assignment because I found your residence listed the same week I found my mother's folder. I wanted to put your signed page in your hand. My mother spent 15 years contacting your office. I did not trust the office. Why not tell the agency? Because I wanted to see your face when you read it. That was personal, not professional, but it is the truth. Adrian folded the email once. I need it verified, and I will not clean your house while you decide whether I am lying. You do not have to resign. I am not asking permission. She left the napkins on the island. By late afternoon, Nia had moved out of the staff suite. Her agency kept her active but placed her on protective leave under the agreement. Adrian did not stop her or offer money to keep her nearby. He gave Lena the suspicious message and ordered preservation of the full email headers. That choice cost him the one thing he had spent 15 years trying to recover, Nia's willingness to remain near him. The archived video arrived at 6. Adrian did not watch it. He asked Lena to send Nia one message. The archive is here. You have equal right to decide when it is opened. I will not view it without you. 3 hours later, Nia answered. Tomorrow. Lena's office. Not his house. Adrian had searched for Nia for 15 years. For the first time, finding her was no longer the same as having access to her. Lena's office sat on the 9th floor of a glass building in Boston's financial district, far from Moretti property. At 10 the next morning, Nia and Adrian sat at opposite ends of a pale conference table. The room smelled of printer paper and peppermint tea. Lena began with the email. She projected its header instead of its accusation. The sending server belonged to an old Vail Fiduciary Services mail gateway. Nia's address appeared only in the reply field. The authenticated sender did not match it. The trust amount in the message matched an internal valuation generated that same morning and distributed only to Adrian, Dominic, and Lena. Nia did not apply to the staffing agency until 5 days later. The email is false, Adrian said. Yes, Lena replied. Its author had access to Vale's legacy server and the current trust valuation. Adrian turned to Nia. I was wrong to make you defend yourself before it was authenticated. You did not accuse me. I made you defend yourself in my kitchen while you worked for me. That was enough. He did not ask her to forgive him. Nia folded her hands. What are you changing? Lena has sole authority over the evidence until the board review. I will not decide your claim. An outside fiduciary will determine what is owed. That helps. Not forgiveness, but a door opened 1 inch. Lena started the archived video. It had no sound. The timestamp read September 18th, 2011, 9:14 p.m. In the grainy service corridor, 25-year-old Adrian entered with one hand at his throat and fell against a laundry cart. Seconds later, a teenage girl ran from the break room door. Nia stared. Her 15-year-old self wore jeans, a red school sweatshirt, and a canvas backpack. A tiny hummingbird swung from the zipper. She dropped beside Adrian, used the emergency phone, read from his medical card, and counted on her fingers until paramedics arrived. There she was. Not a rumor. Not a name in a failed search. Nia. The footage continued. Evelyn Carter entered and wrapped her arms around her daughter. A younger Dominic appeared 4 minutes later, spoke to hotel security, then pointed toward the camera. Lena froze the frame. Now we know he knew what the footage showed. Nia's eyes filled. Adrian slid a tissue box halfway across the table and left it there. The storage vendor's access log showed Dominic's credentials had opened the archived video 11 times over 15 years. The most recent access was 6 weeks ago, 1 day after the board scheduled the trust transfer. He checked whether it still existed. Nia said. Likely, Lena answered. But they still needed proof that Dominic knew Nia's legal name. Nia opened Evelyn's blue folder. On the back of the old camera appointment card was a number, 1847, DC. Lena searched the matter index. It matched a courier receipt. On October 2nd, 2011, at 4:18 p.m., a courier delivered Dominic a sealed envelope from the hotel records office. Its description read, Camera stills, employee HR verification, Carter affidavit. Carter. The surname Adrian had supposedly been unable to discover was written on a package Dominic personally received 13 days after the incident. There is your proof, Nia said. Lena added it to the evidence binder. Then Adrian asked her to calculate whether any Moretti-controlled company had indirectly benefited from Dominic's fees. If so, he wanted the trust reimbursed regardless of who was legally blamed. That could be expensive, Lena said. It should be accurate. Nia watched him. You would repay money you did not know he took? Not knowing changes blame. It does not change the balance. That answer mattered more to her than his search. Searching could be obsession, guilt, or pride. Repayment without demanding control was measurable. Nia had spent years watching wealthy guests apologize with envelopes, favors, or promises that kept the balance tilted toward them. Adrian was doing something different, separating correction from ownership. She did not reward him for it, but she stopped treating every silence between them as a hidden negotiation. By late afternoon, they had a verified packet. Rescue footage, courier receipt, Evelyn's certified letters, the trust fee schedule, the false email header, and archive logs proving Dominic repeatedly viewed evidence that contradicted his reports. Lena scheduled an emergency foundation board session for the next evening, 1 hour before the donor dinner. Dominic would receive the evidence in advance, as procedure required. He will have an explanation, Nia said. Then we make him account for dates, Adrian answered. What happens to the dinner? It proceeds. If the board removes him, the foundation announces the governance change before asking anyone for another dollar. Public disclosure could damage the Moretti name, but hiding it would repeat the same pattern. Nia closed her mother's folder. For 15 years, other people had decided what part of her story entered the record. The next night, she would enter the room with the evidence in her own name. The board met at 6 above the foundation's public hall. Downstairs, glasses chimed against white tablecloths and a string quartet warmed up. Upstairs, the air was cooler and smelled of catered coffee. Nia entered as a witness, not an employee. She wore a navy pantsuit and cream blouse, her natural hair in the same low bun. Adrian wore a black suit and white shirt. Dominic sat across from them in charcoal wool, a yellow legal pad aligned with the table edge. Lena presented the evidence in order. First came the October 2, 2011 courier receipt delivered to Dominic. Camera stills, employee HR verification, Carter affidavit. Receiving a package does not mean I reviewed every item, Dominic said. Next came Evelyn's certified letters, 2 signed for by D. Vale. I signed for office mail. Then the archive log. 11 accesses to the rescue video using Dominic's credentials. I had continuing responsibility for the matter. Lena played 30 seconds of footage. Teenage Nia ran into the service corridor. The hummingbird swung from her backpack. Dominic appeared later and pointed toward the camera. Finally, Lena placed Dominic's 2012 search report beside the courier receipt. His report stated there was no reliable evidence connecting any Nia Carter to the rescue. The receipt showed he had received an affidavit naming Carter the year before. The contradiction needed no speech. Dominic turned to Adrian. You asked me to protect this family from opportunists. The hotel faced liability. The girl was a minor. I kept unstable claims away until they could be verified. They were verified on video, Adrian said. The footage did not prove identity. The HR file named Evelyn Carter. Records can be wrong. The affidavit named Nia. Affidavits can be false. Lena slid forward the $25,000 identity screening invoice. Then why did Vale Fiduciary Services charge the trust to screen the Carter claim? Dominic answered too quickly. Because it failed. On what basis? The girl could not be located conclusively. Nia spoke. My mother gave you my school address. Dominic faced her. I do not remember meeting your mother. You do not need memory. We have dates. She read the dates of Evelyn's 3 letters. The first asked for acknowledgement. The second enclosed Nia's birth certificate and yearbook photo. The third said a Moretti representative had warned her to stop contacting the family. Adrian asked, who authorized that warning? I cannot speak to every communication from 15 years ago. That is not what I asked. Dominic looked around the table. Blaming an unnamed employee would invite a records demand. Admitting the warning would confirm obstruction. He chose another attack. This woman entered your house under false pretenses. You have an email proving she intended to exploit the trust. Lena displayed the authenticated header. The sending server belonged to Vale's legacy system. The trust amount inside the false message came from a valuation available only to Adrian, Dominic, and Lena. Nia applied for the household job 5 days after that valuation existed. Dominic's practiced patience disappeared. You are implying I fabricated it. I am showing where it came from, Lena said. His mistake was not only the false email. It was assuming no one would inspect the infrastructure behind the displayed sender address. The fund was protected, Dominic said. It grew, Nia answered. It grew while you charged it to search for a person whose address you already had. That ended the argument. The board suspended Dominic from all foundation and fiduciary duties pending independent audit and legal review. Vale Fiduciary Services was removed as administrator. The planned hospital transfer was canceled. An outside fiduciary would calculate Nia's interest, restore unauthorized fees, and review related payments. Adrian's companies agreed to reimburse any amount they had indirectly received. At the door, Dominic stopped beside Adrian. 15 years of loyalty, and you choose a maid's word over mine. Adrian looked at the binder. No, I choose records over your word. Downstairs, the donor dinner had begun. Lawyers advised delaying any announcement. Adrian refused. At 7:20, he took the podium. Warm light reflected from glassware. Nia stood near the back beside Lena, free to leave. Adrian did not tell the room a romantic story about a mysterious girl. He said the foundation had discovered serious failures in a beneficiary trust, suspended the responsible fiduciary, preserved records for independent review, and would restore improperly charged funds. Then he added, for 15 years, I believe persistence was the same as responsibility. It was not. I accepted reports I should have tested. The person harmed by that failure does not owe this organization gratitude for correcting it now. Nia watched him. That was when the old debt ended. 6 weeks later, the final accounting valued Nia's trust at $2.81 million after restored fees, interest adjustments, and reimbursement. The money moved to an independent trust company she selected. She endowed a scholarship in Evelyn Carter's name for hotel workers' children and kept the rest private. Nia did not return to Adrian's residence. She accepted a supervisory housekeeping job at a boutique hotel in Cambridge, with no Moretti connection. Adrian sent no gifts and made no attempt to hire her back, until the legal work ended. Their messages concerned only documents and copied Lena. Then Nia texted him herself. Coffee. Public place. Saturday at 2. No lawyers. Adrian arrived early at a small cafe. Espresso hissed behind the counter. Sunlight warmed the brick wall. Nia came in wearing jeans and a rust-colored sweater, her natural curls loose around her shoulders. No uniform. No agency badge. She chose the chair. After a moment, she placed the hummingbird charm on the table. You spent 15 years looking for this, she said. For you. You did not know me. He considered the correction. You are right. I searched for the person attached to one moment. And now I would like to know the woman who walked away when I gave her a reason to. Her mouth curved. That is a strange compliment. It is accurate. They drank coffee, then walked 2 blocks along the Charles River. The air smelled of water and cut grass. Bicycle tires whispered over the path. Nia stopped near a bench. If this becomes anything, it cannot be because I saved you. It cannot be because of the trust. And 15 years gives you no claim. It does not. I choose the pace. Yes. I choose whether there is a next meeting. Yes. She studied him. Dinner next Friday. I choose the place. Adrian's gray eyes softened. I will be there. Nia clipped the hummingbird inside her bag. The object that had once been his only clue no longer belonged to his search. It belonged to her history. As they walked back toward the city, Adrian understood the difference between finding the woman who saved his life and being invited, freely, into the life she had built without him.